Hi guys, and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing alright. Today we have huge Newcastle United news from all aspects of the football club, inside the club and also in terms of signings. Sandro Tonali, the current Italian under-21 international, Newcastle are set to purchase him for just under £60 million. Someone that is actually getting more than double his current wage at AC Milan. You are taking the AC Milan local lads out of AC Milan. That's how big of a sign this one is. Someone that feels like a FIFA football manager sign, to be honest. Someone I couldn't really imagine Newcastle getting, but that's the power of being in the Champions League. I think this is a sort of player that, because of the fact we finished in the top four, you're going to attract serious players into this football club. However, it's been reported by the Italian media that he's not the only player Newcastle are actually after from the Italian league itself. So we'll talk about that in this video. There's a couple of huge names that have popped up. And as for the Tonali side of things, we actually have Newcastle United staff members now going across to Romania to do the first party's medical. The plane spotters are now out in full force. So Newcastle United are sending a medical team across. So once Tonali actually comes over at Newcastle, he hasn't got much to do. So once he gets his second part of the medical done here, he could shoot straight back out and then come back when Newcastle's pre-season begins. So there's less pressure on him, less pressure on the club. So that's why they're doing the first part of it now in Romania. But I am fully expecting today to get officially announced that the deal has been agreed and the medical will go underway straight away. But anyway, guys, welcome back. If you're new around here and you like what you're watching, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button as well if you enjoy the content. Make sure you let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on all the topics I mentioned in this video. We've got a lot to get through, so let's not beat around the bush. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's start off by talking about Sandro Tonali. We'll get this out of the way first, as it is coming towards its natural conclusion. So it's been reported by Fabrizio Romano just a couple of hours ago that Newcastle United have now verbally agreed with AC Milan over the transfer to Tonali. It's now just the case that you're signing off the paperwork and everyone's going across to Romania. So the agents are going across there, Newcastle United medical team are going across there. Dan Ashworth will likely be there. I know he's done little bits and bobs already in Milan, but it's probably a case where you go over there as well just to finalise everything. Newcastle are just getting everything ticked off. And it's one that we got through the door quite early. I've been banging on about this now, but I think it's extremely important that Newcastle get deals done over the next 2 weeks. We can't afford to allow some more signs to miss the entire pre-season basis, considering the fact as well that you're playing Gateshead, Rangers, and you're going to America for 2 weeks in the space of those 2.5 weeks. So it is important that we get signs in before them so they can adjust to the team, get extra game time, and also be 100% match fit and get them going straight away. With Tonali, it is a class one. Someone that, as I mentioned in the intro, I couldn't actually imagine Newcastle going in for it. It's just, I mean, I'm so used to seeing the Hamza Chowdhury, these bash dust things that I still can't quite believe. We've got Trippier, Bruno, Botman, Isak, and now Tonali. I mean, these are world-class players. These are players that I could argue probably are some of the best performing players in world football currently, especially like Trippier. I mean, is there really many right backs better than him in a minute? I don't think there is, and that's just the thing of supporting this football team now. You're getting given everything at once. He's been used to so much shite over the years that everything's kind of popping in at once. It's just a lot to take. But it still has to transpire on the pitch. I know we've got Champions League football. I know we got to a cup final, but I still want that silverware. I want to see the major honour. That's the big one for me. I mean, I don't want to get greedy, but I think naturally over the next couple of years or so, I can see us doing it. I think that's the big one, that you can actually have that progression now, and it's something that's going to be clearly better for everyone involved. And this Tonali one's a big one, so obviously his medical will start taking place today. I'll update you constantly, but I think this one's all sorted now. I don't see any issues with this one at all. The only problem I said yesterday is if you got injured in the France game, which you didn't, got an assist in it, and you had a great game. But that's it, the natural conclusion now in the bag. Obviously, my problem is, will he be number 20? I've stuck by it. I'm backing it. A lot of you guys disagree with me, but I'm going to back 20. Now, he actually has played 20 before for the Italian national team, I must say. But then again, he's had more or less every shirt number, to be honest. So I don't think it means much, but that's a little bit of an indication. But I'm going to back 20 out. I went with it. Sandro Tonali is not the only player from the Italian league that Newcastle United is interested in. It's also been reported by Di Marzio over at Sky Sports Italia that Newcastle United are currently monitoring Theo Hernandez, the current AC Milan left back. So yet again, I want to go back to AC Milan. I mean, Dan Ashworth over Milan, I'm telling you now, he's working his magic. And also, secondly, Chiesa across at Juventus. So, Hernandez is a left-back. Chiesa is an out-wide player on the right-hand side, in case you aren't aware. We'll begin Hernandez first, though, because he's the one I know the most. For me, I think he is currently the world's best left-back. Performance-wise, based on how he plays, the way he plays as well, this one seriously excites me. Imagine Theo Hernandez instead of Dan Burn at left-back position. Not that I don't mind Dan Burn, I think he's good, but Hernandez is different levels. I'm telling you now, he's so good. And I think Newcastle as well are targeting these sort of leagues. I think especially the Italian league. I mean, we've seen it already. You're getting the 23-year-old defensive midfielder, probably one of the best in the world at his position for around £60 million. I think the value of players, especially in the Italian league, is actually a lot smaller than you would think. Especially when you look at the likes of Manchester United trying to buy Mason Mount for around £40 to £50 million. It's just, I mean, players are cheaper elsewhere, and it's not like they're not experienced, because I mean, these players are playing Champions League football, and I think they do numbers in our squad. So Hernandez is definitely a yes if Newcastle were to go in for. I think it's important to note as well that it's only monitoring. It doesn't actually mean interest, and it also doesn't mean we're going in for players, just in case that Newcastle are watching and keeping an eye on them to see what happens. But Hernandez is definitely one Newcastle could go in for. Oh my god, he'd be class. Secondly, Chiesa. Now, I don't know as much about him. Stats in the Italian league doesn't show that he scores many goals, but from what I've watched from him, he still does a lot. He's a bit like a St. Maximin, I would say. Like, even though he didn't get many goal contributions, he's still a major factor on the pitch. So, want to keep an eye on. Chiesa, again, I would take him. I think he would be an upgrade on the right-hand side. It just depends how much these players cost. I'm not too sure exactly on the valuation. You look at these two players, which is, of course, what Newcastle are doing now. But definitely, I would take those two. I think they are upgrades in our current squad, and both would get into the starting 11. A couple of days ago, I showed you one of Newcastle United's leaked away kits going into next season, being the Saudi Arabia themed colours. So, as previously mentioned, it's been reported by the media that Newcastle's kits next season, especially the away and the third kit. So, the third kit is meant to be more or less the exact same as the blue one this year, just a different pattern or a different colour of blue. But ultimately, it's meant to be very similar to that blue kit. And as for the Saudi Arabia side of things, it was meant to be the green national colours this time. So we had the white one previously, now switching to the green, which I've already shown you my mixed opinions on it. I'm still not too overly keen on it. Now, there has been another leak kit popping out, which I'll show you now, but I'm not actually sure of the legitimacy behind it. Now, based on the information we've seen from journalists and also what's being reported by fans in general, there isn't any kit that's supposed to match the one I'm showing you on the screen now. Not to mention that the Premier League badge is not stitched, so it's actually a printed badge. And you can see on the side it's a Premier League logo anyway, so it's not like it's a training kit because the Premier League logo is there. So it would have to be one of Newcastle's active kits going into the season, which, based on the information we had, it's not any of the current kits. So unless it's potentially the goalkeeper one, which, to be fair, if that's a goalkeeper top, that actually looks gorgeous. But if it's like an outfield top, which I don't believe anyway, it doesn't really look that nice, to be honest. But yeah, I thought I'd show you anyway. Personally, for me, I'm not buying it at the minute. I don't think it's legit, but I thought I'd mention it anyway, just in the case that it's a kit I'm not fully aware of. But unless it's the goalkeeper kit or it's once again another fourth kit out of nowhere, then I don't believe this one I'm showing you now. Before we finish this video off, I was wanting to talk about the huge Newcastle United announcement that has came out today on social media. I'm sure you guys have seen it already, but I just wanted to tell you how huge it actually is now. And that's that Newcastle United women's team, for the first time in National League history, so, I mean, technically a world record, I could say, but it's the first time ever that the girls are now full-time, which means they can leave work and just focus on Newcastle United 24/7. Now, this is huge because it will have a positive effect for us in the football pitch. Of course, we've just been promoted last season. We're now in the third tier of English football. And for you guys watching, I know quite a few of you probably aren't interested about women's football. You just don't care about the girls at all. But one thing I will always say, actually, is that on the financial fair play, if the women's team gets into the Champions League, it actually allows the men's team to spend more money. That's just how the structure actually works in football clubs. I think probably the big part of that is the fact that in the Champions League, even for women's football, you get additional sponsorships. We've seen it already in our Champions League football. But getting there actually benefits the men's team. So even if you guys aren't too fussed about it, I would always say you should want them to do well. Now, but as for the women's side of things now, I mean, I can relate to them somewhat without trying to sound a bit cocky, because I've been in a similar situation where, I mean, I had YouTube and university, two things going on at once, and it's a lot to take in. That was the same situation for these girls when you got full-time work and you're playing for Newcastle United in front of a crowd of 28,000 people. It's a lot. I can understand why the girls would want to go full-time. I can understand why the club wants to do it. It tears them out, it strains them out a lot, and I think now that they're full-time, they can train, have a more flexible training time, they can have a better time to have some relaxation as well as playing for the team. And I think naturally on the football pitch, it will do the world of good for them. It really will do well for them. So it's one of them ones where I'm happy for them. I'm so happy for them. I know for my prediction, I was always wanting to go full-time with YouTube, because with university on at the same time, I mean, it's hard to find that balance. I just couldn't find that balance at all. And I think you put yourself under a lot of pressure. And for me, my YouTube content was probably being affected by the fact I was university, because I'm not got my full attention into it, so the videos aren't as good as the quality. And so it was one of them ones where you always got to find what's best for you. And I think Newcastle United women's team have done exactly that for their players. And we'll see this season, their first time in the third tier, we'll see it on the pitch, and I'm sure they'll be pushed towards the top end of the table straight away. So out of the 26 current players, I've released 10 of them. Now, some of those will be because of the fact it's full-time. For example, I know Beth, it's been obviously public knowledge as well that she's a police officer, so chances are she's had to pick between one of the Newcastle United or police work. So some of the releases were made probably were due to the fact that the players couldn't do full-time at Newcastle. But now I'm fully expecting us to bring in some class players, some experienced players, and players, for example, the likes of Doan and Sunderland, teams that are rivals to Newcastle in the women's game. Because of the fact we're full-time now, it's going to entice them to join us, which is really smart business, and I think it will benefit us into getting better players as well, and long-term it's going to do us the world of good. But I just wanted to come across and address that, because I'm so happy for the girls. It's great you see it happen. For a few of the girls as well, I've known them for years before they even play for Newcastle, so you see them now actually be full-time and properly a part of this football club. It's brilliant to see, and Newcastle were the first team ever in National League history to do it. That's a pub quiz question for you. But it's great as well. Now, I know on social media, I've probably seen it as well, that some people are going, oh, it's just PR, it's a man, they're doing this to make themselves look good or whatever. It's not true, though. It's utter crap, to be honest. Obviously, I can't tell you everything, but a lot of things just behind the scenes that she doesn't do for media or doesn't get put out there. She really does care about these girls, and it's really good for the football club as well. And everything going forward now, they've got the world at their feet. It's about making the work done now, which I think they will do. But enough of me banging on about it. I hope you guys enjoy watching. You can see behind me it's raining now, so I kind of don't want to keep talking out here for too long. But it's been great. Just every part of the football club is doing so well. The aspects, everything of it, it's been great. But appreciate you watching. Take care. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to head inside now, and I'll see you all in the next one.